Okay. First participant, start your
Okay. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. And hello, everyone. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Very quickly, my topic is textile technology, tradition, culture, and social values of Meitei community. So the paper aims to understand the textile tradition in relation to its technology and associated belief systems of the Meitei community who are living in Manipur. Basically, they are settled down in the part of valley. So the study on textile technology is another aspect in the spectrum of folkloric research that is different from the verbal expressive behaviors like myths, legends, epics, ballad, folktale, poetry, etc. Since Meitei women are generally engaged with textile production, the weaving technology reflects the Meitei folk life, which is very collective one. Meitei traditional technology shapes not only the communal identity, but also hold their social norms, value, belief systems, and gender identity. As the divisions of labor among the family of Meitei, which in turn among the people of the community is governed by established social norms and value and is in the line of gender and social status. Here it says that men are born as warrior and women should have the knowledge and skill of weaving. And in present time also, there is a tradition to giving the loom when a daughter is married to another family. So, and one more example, it's that in the birth ritual, so there the associated of materials like axes and weaving tools, it also depict the divisions of labor between the male and the female. From the historical sources like which was written during the times of the Meidingu. Yes.
Maya textile. Adagi kay nung mahaya tol do Manipur gizo. May tayi aw.
Meidingu Loyumba, which in the during his reign there is a Loyumba Sinlin. There is a one text. It's all about the convention, about the divisions of the labor, about the duties, which was divided into the group of the people. That signified and that identified the sagai. That means the clan and the lineage of the family. So the textile, the technique itself is also assigned to particular surnames or particular lineage and particular families. So the basic, the design which is incorporated with the textile and the dyeing practice is very rooted to the woman identity as well as the family. So crafting itself is gendered and the assignment of the craftsman depends on the types of the craft, which may require crafters of either femininity or masculinity. So from the perspective of the religion, like after the conversion of the Vaishnavisms, so there is a huge changes in their social structure and there is a divisions of higher and lower according to their occupations. So earlier, then the occupation like the pottery and the silk rearing like a blacksmith, this becomes the lower in their social status. So in the next part, I'm just giving you some of the belief system which is associated with the loom and during the practice of the weaving culture. So one does not pass and one does not jump above and under the loom and does not touch the loom by their leg. So they are showing their respect to their loom, their associated equipment, as well as there is a one belief system that if you touch the with the leg, then the weaver or the wearer of the cloth that may get some trouble. So if the preparation of the ref elements starts on the first or fourth or sixth and 9th days of a month, lunar calendar. So then the woman who wear the cloth may die soon. So it is a belief system. The preparation of the ref element is not started from the day of Tuesday, Sunday, which are considered as an inauspicious day. If a cloth is starting to weave from the mentioned day, then the cloth is considered as a goat cloth. During the menstruation period of women, so women are not allowed to touch the, to weave the godded deity's goat. And some of the design, which is originated from the mythical serpent, so they call it goat pakangba. So the texture, the texture and the motif which is derived from the mythical serpent, so they don't touch to weave, they don't touch to stitch that particular motif during their menstruation period. So I'm taking 3 types of the loom. One is the back strips loom, and another is fly shuttle looms, and fly shuttle looms. And so why I'm taking these looms, because there is some variation, and there is some technically they have a different, and in the practice also, and associated materials, so they have some kind of knowledge, and they have a traditional skills and the knowledge, and there is also kind of a development in terms of their compatibility, about the durability of their material. So backstrips loom is one of the indigenous loom that one can identify this loom that is about the community as well, because it is very connected to the mythology of their community, as well as even in the Lai Harauba, which is very a communal ritual. In that also, it talks about the cosmology, it talks about the civilization, it talks about how the people started to weave, and how they started to learn the yearning of yarn of different, like a cotton and silk. So after that, so there is a perception in the making of the Meitei cloth. The Meitei cloth, whether it may be very similar to other ethnic groups which are settled in Manipur. So there is something different, because there is the perception of Meitei, according to the Meitei, the complete formation of one particular object is meeting with the 2 opposite. So in the cloth also, there is a kind of they join the 2 piece of cloth together, and they will wear it. So there is a representation of the Pa and the P. That means man and the female. So creation of one being is a meeting between the man and the female. And the theme here, the material, one is theme, which is called wave beater. It is very connected with their goddess Lairembi. So it is believed that the god Lairembi killed the numerous, we call it Saroi. It is evil spirit. So one of the advantages of this loom, it's very movable type of the loom, and it can carry to any place of weaving, and also materials of the tools are easily available at a low cost. It is made of wood and bamboo, which is abundant in their vicinity. There is no changes in tools, and the traditional techniques had been continuing. Second, the throw shuttle, fly shuttle looms. It's something, it gives something, the development in terms of their efficiency, and if then in the production of the cloth. So these fly shuttle looms also has a connection with the narratives like the Khamba Thoibi, one of the epic of Meitei community. In that also the heroine, the princess Thoibi, with clothes for her beloved Khamba and all. And one is fly shuttle loom. This is recently, it was introduced in Manipur when in the 1921, in the year of 1921. So the new mechanisms was introduced by the Hairem Taifa. So the craftsmen use suitable looms according to their convenience and purpose of the cloth. Craftsmen derive their designs from the traditional elements into more refined forms, which are more exuberant and fashionable with times. But the craftsman or the designer doesn't make much changes in the traditional elements to preserve indigenous features. Moreover, the specific indigenous designs remain continued without any alterations. The texture and the design become cultural motif to identify their growth. So lastly, in conclusion, settlement of Meitei in the valley influenced to establish their own socio-cultural expressive behaviors politically and socially to maintain the socio-political, economic, as well as religious understanding. It is visible that Meitei community is not a homogeneous group, and there is a classification of identity between the inter-ethnic segments. There is no changes in tools or implement and a traditional technique that have been continuing at present. The tools and its functions through behavioral patterns of the weaver are incorporated with their costume and belief system. It is clearly revealed that study of technology means the understanding of the raw material, the whole process of crafting, the psyche of the craftsman and the community. The tools are and implement the technological system that incorporate knowledge, ideological correlates, embed in social, economic, and political structure. Thank you.
Next is Naran.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Okay. So my topic for the presentation is power and politics in representation of transgender community in Bollywood cinema, and I will be analyzing this topic through the movie named Darmiya in Britain. So this is a Hindi movie, Bollywood movie, which is based on transgender theme. So, okay. Cinema
Please,
works as a means. Sorry? Sorry? You're not. Power and cultural politics in representation of transgender in Bollywood cinema, an analytical study of movie Darmiya in Between.
Okay.
So, should I start?
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
Okay. So cinema works as a mirror in which the human beings could see their reflections of their lives. It has a power to influence more than any art form. Therefore, it is very important to understand how a country and its people and its aspirations are represented in cinema produced in the country. So mainstream Hindi cinema is most widely distributed cinema in our India. And identity construction is one of the significant issues in Bollywood. But visual images connect faster and stay in the mind's eye over a period of time. All art forms are representations, but the physical medium is a physical representation, not merely because it selects and frames and reproduces photographically, but because it combines the sensuous perception of other arts into a plastically all its own. And mode of communication is different as it uses language, color, perspective, collage, the material body, the actor, sound, music, and voice all at once. So the film it brings to you the human body not as a moving figure, but one which is captured in a moving image. Portrayal of life stories and issues in cinema has varied because of if we talk about transgender portrayal or third gender portrayal, it has always been varied between the sarcasm, denial, biased, comic, criminal, and stereotypical. It is to study that how Bollywood is portraying transgender people and what changes has their characters undergone over the past decades. So, Power and culture are always interrelated to each other. Whenever we talk about culture, we talk about power and powerful people. Even if we talk about our history, we have stories of powerful kings who won the battle, and then powerless kings who lost the battles because of less power of by any chance and by any source. All stories, myths, fights, positions, it's all about having power. In even our contemporary world also, identity construction in our society is based on power and position. If you have power, your position is secure, and you can touch the level of importance which is in our society. But when we talk about identity construction of any subaltern group or marginalized community, it is not that simple. So many factors and cultural aspects came in between. It has said that only powerless man knows the value of power. And if we talk about in terms of transgender community, transgenders have been neglected by our society from many time after even having a significant role in our ancient culture and country. But still, this community has failed to secure and stand a position in our society because of existing stereotypical cliches and myths that they are not normal and does not fit under the binary categories of the society. So the movie which I have taken to my study, that is the Dharmiya in between. The protagonist of this movie is named as Kimi. He is born as transgender, but his family doesn't give him to the transgender people. So my main issue is that when society refuses to give the desired and the essential power and position to them, so that they can also feel normal and part of society. But when society does not give that position to them, they started to show their power in their community only. uh, it has seen in the movies. They have a certain group of transgenders, and in which there is one person who is on upper position called Maharani, and then there are some certain positions which are under below her. So there is one. So it has been represented by the scenes in the movie. There is another movie by Shabnam Wasi. There have certain scenes by which we as an audience, we can see how much they crave for power, and when they are not getting it by the society, the deserved power which a normal human being deserves, which we all have, when they does not earn that position in society, they try to show it into their community that I am in this position and you are inferior to me, I am superior to you. So over my analysis and this portrayal of transgender community in Bollywood, I came to this conclusion that we as a society are the reason behind it, and from which they does not have any kind of position and power in this society. So the films representing the third gender usually fall into two categories: the art films that deals with the issue of the third gender seriously and barely address into the Indian public, and mainstream film industry that purely deals with the in terms of entertainment. The projection of genres have always been stereotypical, even where Bollywood is known to feed and mold the physical construction of the audience. So as I said earlier, that visual art forms more connects to the audience. Uh, whatever we hear and whatever we watch, there is difference with what we hear and what we saw. Visual images stay more than in our minds if compared to what we read and what we hear. So this is the responsibility of the cinema and our society as well to present their actual life stories, their actual life struggles, and give them their deserved deserved position in society, so that they does not feel neglected by society. And very Anthony Giddens argues that our identity should be considered as discursive project. It is not a set of traits, but a reflexive narrative about the self that one tries to sustain. This reflective narrative is discursively constructed from among other elements and media representation. So, the representation of media has a huge role when it comes to representation of a subaltern community, because they already have a significant existed stereotypical clutches which they are facing in their everyday life. And in this scenario, if we show them as a negative person, as a criminal person, this is a side back for them uh, in terms of existing in society. Thank you so much. This would my argue of my topic.
Okay, thank you, Daisy. Next, then Priyanka.
Hello,
Acha.
am I audible?
Yes, very much.
A very good evening to everyone present here and listening to me. I am Priyanka, PhD scholar from Department of English and Foreign Languages in Chaudhary Devilal University. The title of my paper is Rethinking Two Dimensions of Power, Coercion and Reward in the Palace of Illusions. The Palace of Illusions is a novel by Indo-American author Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. I would like to start with the quote from her novel, The Palace of Illusions. Know the proper properties of your power. Unless you use it correctly, it won't get you what you want. It simply means it is highly significant to know the nature of power that one uses. Understanding the nature and proper properties of power depends on the kind of sources power comes from. So, to understand the roots or basis of power, French and Raymond, two psychologists, studied about 5 bases of power in 1959, and sixth was added in later edition. This model of bases of power deals with 6 sources of power, including legitimate power, reward power, coercive power, referent power, exploit power, and informational power. In this paper, I'm going to discuss only 2 sources of power, and these are reward power and coercive power. Alex Lyon, PhD scholar of USA, states in his lectures describing the basis of power by French and Raven, unlike reward power, which is win-win because of the leader wants to give the award for his own benefits and the follower receives award and everybody is happy. Coercive power I personally see as lose-lose. So according to Alex Lyon, reward power belongs to a win-win kind of situation, while coercive power is a lose-lose kind of situation. But the novel The Palace of Illusions vindicates the contrary conclusions. Duryodhan in The Palace of Illusions keeps on playing the game of dice because he wins most of the times. So those materialistic things that he wins becomes the reason of continuing the game of dice in spite of drop these warnings. Moreover, Duryodhan's purpose behind planning such a conspiracy is to attain political as well as economic power, and he also gets successful in attaining his goal. Though the power he attained through unfair means takes him to sheer destruction. Coercion is the power of punishing. Threat of harsher punishment or worse circumstances is given in the case of coercion. Compliance is the most significant feature of coercion. In case of the Palace of Illusions, the same is done by Duryodhan and Dusasan. After winning the game of dice, they become more powerful politically as well as economically. They force powerless Pandav brothers and Draupadi to do whatever they command. Duryodhan orders Dusasan to remove all the jewelry and fancy clothes. Pandav brothers throw everything themselves, and then Karna adds to this, why should Draupadi be treated any differently? Take her clothes too. Dusasan forcefully, by using coercion, starts pulling her sari and keeps on pulling it until he gets tired of it. Though he fails in attempt of removing her clothes, but he uses coercion to do the same. This way, the novel vindicates that no matter what kind of power it is, whether it is economic power emerging from the rewards or it is political power arising from coercion, it is if it is gained through unfair means, there can never be win-win kind of situation as the outcome will be none other than destruction and devastation. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much.
The next participant, Siddhi. Siddhi,
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
yes, very much. Please start your paper.
Hello.
Please start.
Hello.
You are already.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you
Hello.
are audible, Siddhi. You can start. You are audible.
Okay, ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. The topic of my paper is Revisiting Ramayana, Retrieval of Female Subjectivity through Kavita Kane's Lanka's Princess. Through centuries, the epic Ramayana has been revisited and reinterpreted in Hindu culture. The epic is a long description of Lord Rama, known as Uttam Purush, epitome of morality and two-spirit, symbolizes morality and ethics. Reinterpretation and retelling of mythology are a common medium through which people can at once connect with the ancient past as well as relevant to contemporary times. Hence, revision is a strategy to represent the unseen and unheard voices overshadowed by the Green's grand sweep of mainstream narratives. This paper is an attempt to articulate the voice of Surpanakha, who has been perceived as monster, wicked, and aggressive. Kavita Kane, in her novel Lanka's Princess, lends a feminist implication to an unheard voice of Surpanakha. She reshapes her position from that of an ugly, adulterous, disfigured ogress in Valmiki's meta-narrative. Ramayana to that of assertive. She reshapes her position, Ramayana, bold and a strong woman with a clear voice who has survived hatred, loss, and has faced rejection, only to rise up again and fight. Thus acclaiming itself as a masterpiece in retelling of mythology, Kani says, I always believe the mythology can be a huge canvas for contemporary thoughts. Surpanakha is originally named Meenakshi, the one with fish-shaped eyes. Lanka's princess is about how she enroots her journey from form to formlessness. It speaks about her mother's rejection and neglect, her brother Ravana eclipsing her identity, life with the father at his ashram, and finally finding and enveloping herself in her husband's love. Her journey from being eye-shaped Surpanakha, a girl with sharp claw-like nails, unfolds peaks and valleys in her life. She oscillates between good, which is manifest by her father, Vishwaras, and her husband, Vidvuja, and her two brothers, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishan, and evil, which is personified by her mother, Kekasi, and Ravana. From the shimmering bitterness and birth due to rejection and neglect to being a loving wife, mother, and aunt. Supnaka keeps watering her desire for revenge and vengeance due to injustice inflicted upon her, not only by her clan but by outsiders who mutilate her. Her mutilation adds fuel to the fire and thus transforms Lanka's princess into a cunning and scheming yet an assertive woman. The novel speaks about her assertion and heightened anger that destroys everything. Thus, this novel explores the complexities of human nature to comprehend the meaning of life, learning, and self identity. The novel opens with a declaration, It's a girl. In spite of having three sons, Kekisi, Supnaka's mother, is disappointed to know that she has given birth to a daughter. Thus is because a girl will not be of any aid for the dream project Kekisi has hatched getting Lanka's back from her stepson Kuber, who has snatched it from her parents. Thus she believes that Supnaka has cheated her plans, a faint stirring of unease making her more restlessness. Supnaka is perceived as the powerless other. Simone de Beauvoir, in her monumental work The Second Sex, explained this attitude towards women by asserting that one is not born but rather becomes a woman. It is the society which terms the female as the other. Otherness in this context refers to the differences that becomes the basis for being treated as inferior. By extension, the term applies to the marginality and the experience as a result of this othering process operative in manifold situations. If woman is othered on account of her sexual difference from man, internal divisions of race, culture, hierarchy, and birth in the family marginalize women further. This can also be seen in the incidents where Kuber, her stepbrother, tries to show his power by targeting her femininity to instigate her brother, especially Ramana, but fails assembly when she fights back instead of succumbing and retaliates strongly with her weapon, her nails, proving her identity with complete acceptance of who she is. The marginalized and ignored Meenakshi finds love and acceptance in Vidvuja, a powerful rival king who loves her not for her unconventional dark beauty but for her intellect, smartness, and might. He cherishes her and addresses her as my tigress, underlining her mental strength as well as her sexual assertiveness. However, Ravana, suspicious of Vidvuja's motive, plot his death for his own political stability. This murder, in which an utmost family is involved, triggers Supnaka's pain and anger, which transform her into acute hatred towards Ravana and drives her towards seeking revenge against her own family. She was like Tigress. My revenge would be my respite. Ravana has to die for this mother. She promises herself, it's her word, that she will make life hell for each one her family members and take an oath to be Supnaka, determined to seek solace through vengeance. Supnaka manipulates the event in Ravana's life and became the epicenter of Ramayana, proving her dominance and striding away from the margins. To achieve this, she trains her son Kumar to fight for her revenge. Unfortunately, his mysterious death leads her to plot Ravana's downfall at the hands of Ram and Lakshmana. A sexually assertive woman, Surpanakha tries to attract the brothers with her enchanting mirage of beauty, but is disciplined for it. Carline M.C. Lane in an essay, Sita and Supnaka, Symbol of Nation in Amar Charitra Katha states, mutilation of a woman in the specific way described in this epic can symbolically be interpreted as a gendered punishment for sexual transgression. In India, legal text disfigurement of a woman is the most common punishment for crimes of a sexual nature. Supnaka was mutilated not for her attack on Sita but for her sexual assertiveness. But Supnaka does not suffer this humiliation just because she has been sexually assertive. Her status as the other also figures in her disfigurement. In communal struggle, the stimulation of the other woman plays a crucial role. Subnaka is treated as the other woman who is perceived as a threat to patriarchy, and thus by mutilating and disfiguring her, patriarchy proves its discipline. This adds fuel to the raging fire of Supnaka's vigilance. She therefore epitomizes the voice that is raised on not only against the family which marginalizes her, but also the society that tries to tame her. Seeking revenge, the intelligent woman schemes to employ her disfigurement to instigate Ravana against Ram, which she believes will bring her solace. This entire plot of Supnaka and the abduction of Sita, leading to the downfall of Ravana, has its entire claim. Supnaka becomes a double-edged sword wherein she loses many of her loved ones such as Meghnad, Kumbh, among others, but remains unaffected by it as her vengeance stands supreme in the face of her unrequited love for her family. Supnaka's character throughout this narrative embodies Jean-Jacques Rousseau's statement that people in the natural state are basically good, but this natural innocence, however, is corrupted by the evils of society. It is her need for justice, for ill treatment and ignorance during her childhood, the death of her husband and son, which channelizes the emotions of revenge in her, demonizing her and completing her transformation, the beautiful-eyed Meenakshi to the long, sharp-nailed Supnaka. Thank you so much.
Okay, the next. Please, your presentation.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible to everyone?
Sir.
Good evening, ma'am, and all the research scholar. My name is Susma Gurung, research scholar from Sikkim University, Gangtok, Sikkim. I'm going to present the paper titled Traditional Dress and Ornaments of Nepali Community of Sikkim. Is my slide visible to everyone? Hello?
Oh, we can see you.
Okay. Sikkim being the 22nd state of the Indian Union and the 8th northeastern state of India is a multilinguistic, multi-religious and multi-ethnic state of home to mainly three ethnic groups, that is Lepcha, Bhutias and the Nepalis. Each of these ethnic groups have their own cultural values which have in fact shaped the culture of Sikkim. Since my topic highlights to the Nepali community, so I will be focusing more on it. Though we say Nepali community, but it is an umbrella term to a heterogeneous group of many caste and tribes like Baun, Chetri, Newar, Rai, Gurung, Tamong, Mongar, Sunar, Bhusel, Thami, Thakuri, Kami, Damai, Sarki, etc. And each of these groups exhibit diverse physical and cultural characteristics, and this Nepali community are basically a Hindu society and conform to the caste system followed by the Hindu with their Hindu tradition and customs. Uh, when we say traditional dress of Sikkim of any community, be it like Lepcha, Bhutia, or the Nepali, it shows the culture and the social lifestyles of the community, and side by side, it indicates the cultural and the religious identity also. As traditional dress itself plays a very important role in one's community, and it reflects one's unique identity to create the weird feelingness among each other and wear it to preserve the traditional value. um, Traditional value. To begin with, we will start with the dress of women among the Nepali community. Nepali women wear remarkable dress indoor with beautiful sets. The traditional dress of Nepali women comprise of chaubandi cholo, that is the upper part and the blouse. It is held at 4 point across the body of this body by the string. We call it tuna. Next is Foria and the Gunul, that is sari, that comes in a vibrant color and shades which reach down the ankle with tiny pleats in front and is held at waist by patuka, that is a long stripe of cloth, cotton cloth. Uh, ne- Next is dress of man. The Nepali man usually wear daura and sural, patuka, dhaka topi, and the waistcoat. The daura is a traditional vibrant kurta worn till the knee. It has 8 strings in it. The sural is a trouser matching to daura. The daura is held by patuka at the waist, and dhaka topi is the hat worn over the head. This is how it looks like, the traditional dress of Nepali community of Sikkim. Next is the ornament used by the Nepali people of Sikkim that are usually made of gold, silver, and the precious stone. They wear their ornaments usually during the festival, special occasions, or the festive ceremony. Their ornaments can be categorized according to the body part. We will begin with the nose, that is often adorned with the nose ring of different kind. Uh, Bulaki is a meat nose ring worn by the Nepali older married women. Next is Dungri, is a nose pin worn in the left side of the nose, but this nose ornament have reduced wearing it by the people. We hardly find this wearing it by the older women in the village only. The next adornment are the different earrings worn by the Nepali women. The first one is the cheptesun, which is a large disc-shaped earrings with few design. Next is kopipata, are usually medium-sized design of flower decorated with a small stone of different color in the middle of the earrings. And next is the marwari. It is designed in a hollow hoop with an embellished design worn by pricking in the earlobes. All of these ornaments are mostly worn by the older married women. the younger generation, they prefer to wear different varieties of ear stud earrings with a varied design which are easily available in the market. The next adornment is the necklace. To start with, the kantha is the necklace of large round gold beads separated by red velvet circle shaped cloth. Next is rezi. It is made of a coin connected to a string. Next is Naugiri. Is made of green and red small bead consisting of in between 9 round shape beads. Next is varieties of pote in different shape and size and color. This pote with the green bead is very, it plays an important role in the society among the married women, and it is used by them only. Next ornament is the bracelet. We call it chura, which has a unique design and is worn by all. In to conclude it with the influence of Westernizations and Modernizations among youth, fashion is a huge influence of youth culture, especially in relation to the young people attitude and behavior. Similarly, modernization and westernization are leading to the new traces and new lifestyle of life among the people of Sikkim. And if we have to talk about the traditional dress, they have add on some extra ideas. And making it colorful so that they can carry out their traditional attire in the new and modern way. Though the younger generation wear modern dresses, but it's only during the festival times. They prefer the colorful traditional. In Sikkim, in Sikkim, everyday wear of the people is similar to the rest of the world. Like they wear clothes easily available in the market, and the material of the dress depend upon the weather. And though the youth has been influenced by the modernization and westernization, but they still maintain their traditional customs and culture. And contemporary time has urged in the huge influence of westernization in the dress culture of the people of Sikkim, especially among the younger generation. But nonetheless, the traditional dress are still worn by the Sikkimese people during the special occasions only. That's all. Thank you.